Russell T. Davies to ignore the timeless child for future Doctor Who? Well, you need to do a little more than that. Anyway, here we are at Doctor Who TV, the UK version of it, and we got a little tidbit here based on I think a Radio Times interview that Chibnall did, as he's trying hard not to let the door hit him on the ass on the way out. Chibnall won't write for Doctor Who again. Thank God. And fully expects RTD to ignore his controversial canon changes. Gee, I wonder what those controversial canon changes are. It's the Timeless Child. That's the main thing. But he expects, that'll just be ignored by his successors, including Russell T. Davies. So Chibnall told the Radio Times, "You're not carrying a vase across the room. You've got to get in there and say what you want about the show, the character, and the world." Yeah, you can do that without burning it down. You see, you just dropped the vase and splattered the water everywhere. He continues, "It's one of the few drama series without a written Bible." Yeah, but it's got nearly 60 years of stuff. Talk about ignoring something. Anyway, and every era contains a contradiction or left turn from what has come before. Any future showrunner will ignore it or run with it. Okay. Yeah, there are things you can look at. It's like, hey, that's curious. I thought this was established that or whatever, But it's only like a tease or a hint here and there, and something they never refer to again. The biggest thing from the classic era, I would think, was the Valiant. Because that kind of established that, there was this future dark version of the Doctor, and at some later date they were going to have to address it, provided the show lasted enough, and it didn't at the time. And then we come back and we get all the way to Capaldi and we don't address it. So, and that's a problem on that one. But that's on the new guys, isn't it? The other stuff about, like the second Doctor showing up and the two Doctors and stuff like that, and what it seemed to suggest. But it only teases it and suggests it, and you could expand on it if you wanted to, or you can just move on, which is pretty much what they've done. But none of that, and I'm sure there's other examples I'm just not recalling at the moment, but it doesn't matter. None of them did anywhere near the massive changes that Timeless Child did. Timeless Child rewrites and puts down an origin for the Doctor, which was always left, nebulous, mysterious, and all that. And then suddenly puts it down. And then Chibnall went out of his way to burn every possible bridge out of it. So this idea that, he'll probably ignore it. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Oh, no. No, it bothers him a great deal. But on top of all that, he did it very, very lazily. The Timeless Children episode is terrible. I mean, all it is the Master telling you everything. And this right here, eliminating William Hart now as the first Doctor is just absolutely disrespectful to the brand, to the whole lore and idea of Doctor Who. And all it is, and hide behind, tokenized people that you exploited and didn't give them one line of dialogue. Even Tech Wing didn't get any dialogue until, the Flux show where they immediately killed her off. And so, it's just slapped on there. Look at me. And the Doctor is really Dr. God and all that crap. And it was all for naught, because the thing is, you don't respect the original brand, but then you don't really even respect your own idea. It's just lazy. Ugh. So, anyway, and he goes on about he's never going to write again, and for Doctor Who, and it's like, fine. It's just as well, because I just don't think he cared enough, And I mean, BBC had, I'm sure orders for how it's supposed to be in a checklist and all that crap, so he had to stick to that. But just didn't really try at all. I mean, the idea of the female Doctor, you could have done things with that. You didn't do any of it. And I mean, under the rules of the woke era, you never know what you can do. So you got to keep it all rather flat and bland and boring. So he said, "Oh, I never thought I would get the job, and that's why I wanted it to be a very specific 3 series thing." No, you didn't. No, you got the boot. That's what. So that's nonsense. He's just trying to save face here. So now he's moving on to something else. Well, good luck with that. But so there we are. All right. So that's it for Chibnall. He's did he have discussions with Russell T Davies? I don't know. But he says, I fully expect him to ignore it. I think that's the hint that he's very much aware that they all realized this was a huge mistake and it did serious damage to Doctor Who, which, was declining before he came on and all that. But this, that's not how you deal with, to try to restore it or anything. So, he's very much aware of that. And so, some kind of ways it has to be dealt with. But the idea of it just being ignored. So there's things throughout Doctor Who that does get ignored, like the value, which I think is a mistake. It's pretty substantial. That's about as close as you're going to get to anything like Timeless Child, where it just states that, there's this future version or offshoot of the Doctor and all this stuff, and they needed to deal with it and explain it. I think they mentioned it briefly in one of the episodes, but that's about it. That's not really dealing with it. And that sort of thing, but they just ignored it. Other things like, Paul McGann and that storyline and being half human and all that stuff, they just ignore that. I mean, it's all pretty much, it's stated in that movie, and all that sort of stuff, but it's like, nah. So, and the other stuff you could just ignore, and you'll be fine. But Timeless Child's a different matter. In fact, I think the War Doctor needs to be looked at again. And in my head canon, there's a way to do it. But, that kind of thing. But this is Last Jedi level stuff. It's really devastating to what's been established, and to knock off, the first Doctor. It's not the first Doctor. Oh, he's still the first Doctor. No, he isn't. You've already introduced, Dr. Ruth, which should have been a future Doctor. That's the way to fix that. It wouldn't do it. No. She's pretty Hartnell. And it's like, that's crazy. It doesn't make any sense. Doesn't work. I mean, the Hartnell series clearly demonstrates when the police box first appeared and all that type of stuff. And she's flying around in a police box. Come on. Just lazy stuff. And so... By the way, her Doctor gets a comic book. Yeah, that's nice, huh? I mean, I think in a roundabout way, the way it was painted in a corner, that they should have just gone ahead and said she was the future Doctor from Jodie, and you follow through with that as you move on back to a man being the Doctor eventually. But that would be the way to go about it. But then whatever. But all that's got to be undone. You can't just ignore it. You've got to retcon the retcon. Certainly for me personally, that's what needs to be done for Doctor Who to have any shot at being restored. I don't care how good a specific episode Davies delivers for his new take on Doctor Who. That's not going to be enough with that steaming pile still sitting there in the middle of it, So I think that's what needs to be done. However, just ignoring it could work for some people. Maybe it'll be enough, but overall, Timeless Child's got to go. So it's a challenge, but that's how you show you're worth the paycheck when you figure that out. You're a writer, after all, and write your way out of it. But, ignoring it, not enough. That's not enough. So anyway, there we go. That's it for Chibnall.